Welcome back to LillySquared,
a video podcast by women for women. Well, Lily, we're into week 4 of our show. Everything's going to plan, I think. I felt that last week was a little bit of a busy show, a little hectic. There was only going to be about 4 of us like all together working the show.
Behind the scenes.
Fortunately, there was someone in the studio that was more than willing to help and step up, be floor director, cameraman, teleprompter, all that fun stuff.
3-in-1 action.
Exactly. And that just like made, after I looked at it over the live stream, I'm pretty proud that
I'm beyond proud.
Do the show with such a small crew, and
we pull it off every single time.
Exactly.
Besides the fact that we sit in the studio about 20 minutes before the show airs and we're all panicking and freaking out. But now we're here and things run smoothly and we're so happy about it.
Exactly. All smiles.
Yeah.
I also realized over the weekend that our show is pretty much all women.
Yeah.
We're hosting, Soleil is being featured. We have a TD, who is a wonderful woman, and then we have Emma, who does camera work and is our teleprompter as well. And I think that is something that like separates us from other shows that are being produced in the J School or in general.
Yeah, and I think that's amazing that we do that too, and that we can recognize that here and we can continue to do that too.
Exactly. And it made me ponder though that about representation among women within sports media.
Yeah.
I know whether that be representation on the professional side or things even on the broadcast, commentary, production side of things. And this is my story, like going into it. Like when I came into the journalism building here at KU, I was set on sideline reporting.
Yep.
I just grew up watching Kay Adams, Erin Andrews, Laura Oakman, Carissa Thompson, because that's all I saw every Monday, Sunday, Thursday over on the NFL side. And I was set on the idea that that was the only thing that women were able to do within the broadcast or sports media industry.
Yeah, and I can say the same thing. That's, I guess, all I ever saw them doing, and they didn't host things on ESPN, none of that stuff. You just saw sideline reporting, and like you said, that's something we want to kind of broaden.
Exactly, and this is more of, I guess, I don't know, a funny story. When I was deciding on what college I wanted to attend to future my career, I literally did research on every single one of them, and one of the stories that really stood out to me was Laura Oakman's story. She just talked about just overcoming all this adversity, and it seemed like the University of Kansas really like helped her be successful.
Yeah.
And I felt like she took every opportunity that she could find and she ran with it and she excelled in every opportunity, just like I feel like we're doing here as we're producing our own show. And reading more about her, I found out that she is much more than a sideline reporter.
Oh, yeah.
She has a wonderful camp called Galvanize that is a broadcast boot camp that empowers women whether they want to be behind the camera or in front of the camera. And I feel that that is so important, and that we are kind of building the sense of community by doing LillySquared. We're empowering every other woman that is interesting within the sports media world that, hey, if we're doing it, you can do it as well.
And I'm happy to be attending that boot camp too, October 26th on Zoom here, and it has been promoted all throughout the J School. And if you're not interested in sideline reporting, it's still good to hear from a woman who does that. And I think you're going to get good information whether you're a journalist or not. I think it's really amazing information that's just like to hear a woman talk about how much she loves what she does and how powerful it is. And I think that's really awesome, and it's really moving for someone like us who wants to do what she does. And I think it's going to be an exciting talk to hear.
And I'm very excited for that Zoom call. I'm so excited to hopefully share every opportunity we've been able to have here at the journalism school. And I feel that we take every opportunity for granted, and we run with it and make it the best. But I'm a little nervous, I don't know about you, going into the future of my career.
Oh, 100%.
As women, I feel like we are going to have to work harder for those bigger opportunities.
We do.
To be able to get our foot in the door and be able to have the dream job that we want to have.
My mom tells me that every day. And then not only does she tell me that, but I see it too from those women who talk about it every day. Like, it's not easy being a woman going into this major and into this world, because you have men who are just there, just bashing on you for what you do because it's not normal and it's not normalized, and that's what we're here to do.
Exactly. And when we came up with this question for the week, as we always do, I was doing some research online, and according to a career database, the statistics are drastic. 77.6% of males are broadcasters, while 17.2% are only females.
Which is a huge, huge difference if you think about it and look at it on a big scale. Like, it's huge, and it's sad, and I want to make it more available for women to go into that world. I know I've talked to a few people who have been in the journalism major and they want to be women sideline reporters, or not even with sports, women in journalism to begin with. And they've changed their major completely because they just don't simply think they can do it. And that is really sad to me, that people just completely change what they want to do because they don't think they can.
Exactly. And although that people can argue that representation just seems to be increasing I want to say little by little each year rather than a big drastic difference, it's just, I want to see 50-50.
I do too.
Now.
I do too.
In the next decade or even 5 years. I want it to be 50-50 because, and I feel that, like, going off of like how people change their careers as women, we have so much more pressure on us. I feel like that we're sometimes watched under microscope talking about sports. And we have to be on and perfect 24/7. And if we're not,
the slightest mistake, people pick you apart.
Exactly. We have to dress ourselves more professionally. We have to present ourselves professionally, I feel like 24/7 as well. And it's just that pressure also may skew people away from the idea of living out one of their dream jobs.
It is a lot of pressure, but you have to learn how to deal with pressure. If what you want to do is not an easy job, and what I want to do is not an easy job, and that's how I have to learn to deal with it.
And there's also like articles out there, and like you hear people talking about it all the time about how women aren't educated enough to talk in the sports media world. And that makes me unconfident with
fuming.
Makes me unconfident with my abilities too. But like, even though I know like I can do it, it just
it makes me, if this makes sense, so unconfident and confident at the same time, because it makes me want to like, okay, well, if they think this, then I'm gonna show them otherwise, and I'll learn more.
Exactly. And I feel like that just adds fuel to both of the fires as well.
So my fuel, I'm just fuming. Like, I want to show people what we can do.
Exactly. Well, that's all that we have. We are going to throw it out to Soleil, who asked some students on Jayhawk Boulevard their stance on women representation in sports media.
Thank you, Soleil.
Well, we love that representation from all of her 3 guests out there. I feel like they had some insightful thoughts and opinions on women representation within any career path and on the journalism aspect of things.
It's always interesting to put random people walking on Jayhawk Boulevard on the spot to see what they have to say, because sometimes you really don't know what answer you're going to get. And like if I were one of them and I was put on the spot like that, I would be like, yeah, okay, yeah. And so I think it's interesting when we put those people on the spot, because it really puts our like topic of the week to test to other people who don't really, live in this world that we do, in the journalism world, I guess.
Exactly. Well, we are going to take a short break, and I will be back with a special guest, Libby Frost. Welcome back. I am now joined with Libby Frost, the famous shooter from late night who made the wonderful 3-pointer. Let's take a look at her first half-court shot.
So I just texted a number. It said like, text these words to this number. And so I texted it and I was like, oh, I probably won't get chosen, kind of as a joke. And then I looked at my phone one time and it was like, you've been chosen as a finalist. And so I made my friends read it. I was like, tell me that this is what I think it says, and they're like, yeah. So that was kind of crazy, but I don't know what the chances of that are, but I got picked, so that was cool. I played for a really long time, probably since like 3rd grade or something. So I played in high school and always played like MAYB tournaments and did elite and stuff like that. So yeah, I played for a long time, and yeah, it was pretty fun. Half-court shot I thought was probably going to go in. It was close, so I was like, maybe, I didn't know. And then we had like warm-up before. They let us warm up a little bit in like a back gym, and I made 2 or 3 in there. So whenever going in, I thought, okay, I can probably make 1. But yeah, that first one was close. My second one wasn't, but couldn't choose a basketball player. Like that wasn't an option. I could have chosen one of the assistant coaches, like the guy that Carson chose. But after I was so close that first time, I was like, what the heck? I'm here. How many chances am I going to get to shoot in front of this many people again? So I just thought, I think I can make it, and I'll just take it. That's what, yeah. I thought maybe that he would let one of us shoot again because, like, I was pretty close, and then the assistant coach was pretty close too. So I thought maybe. I didn't think he'd let me shoot a 3, though, because that's a little bit closer. I mean, closer than a half-court shot. But as soon as he said I could shoot from the top of the key, I was pretty confident I could make that.
One shot, top of the key. No. This line right here. This one right there. All right. One shot, top of the key.
I'm going to give it to my mom, actually. She deserves it. She's paid for literally everything in my whole life, and she's worked really hard and done a lot for me. So she deserves it, so I'm just going to let her have it and do what she wants with it.
It's been great talking to you, Libby, but I know Bill Self had some words to say about that 3-pointer that was made at late night, so let's take a look at that.
Yeah, she was probably the most impressive thing tonight. It's perfect the way it ended. She makes a shot, she did it, and it saved me 10 grand. So that was actually perfect the way it ended.
Well, Libby, thank you for joining us again, and I hope your mom enjoys that $5,000 that you gave her. Well, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be back for Soleil to break down KU sports.
Where you go to college makes a statement about you. This place will become a part of you, your identity for life. The University of Kansas, a great place to be you.
Welcome back, Jayhawks. The Jayhawks traveled to Ames, Iowa to play Iowa State. Our defense had an extremely hard time holding the Cyclones. The first quarter, the Cyclones scored 4 touchdowns within 10 minutes. The second quarter came and the Jayhawks were still not on the board. Near the end of the quarter, the Cyclones scored another touchdown and a field goal. Jason Beam threw a pass that was intercepted, going into the half with a score of 0-38. In the third quarter, wide receiver Torrey Loughlin scored a 12-yard run, finally putting the Jayhawks on the board. The Cyclones were putting the Jayhawks defense to work as the Cyclones scored 2 more touchdowns going into the fourth quarter, 7-52. Towards the ending of the fourth quarter, Cyclone Dion Silas scored a 16-yard run. Jayhawk Amari Pezik-Hickson ran 4 yards for the first down, but unfortunately that was the end of the game. The Jayhawks had 2 turnovers and 302 total yards. That's all the recap that I have for today. Join us in 2 weeks where the Jayhawks will host Texas Tech in David Booth Stadium on October 16th. Have a safe fall break, Jayhawks. Now to Lily with the NFL recap.
And what a week it was. The Arizona Cardinals remain the only undefeated team in the NFL out of 32 through week 4. Is this Cardinal team on track for the perfect season? If I had to bet, I would put only some money on the Cardinals because they are looking like one of the most put together football teams in the NFL right now. I also cannot forget to give credit to Kyler Murray's performance against the previously undefeated Los Angeles Rams. Murray was 24 of 32 for 268 yards for 2 touchdowns, which left him with a 76.1% completion rating. Murray also has now become one of the new favorites around MVP talk. One of the biggest anticipated games happened during Sunday Night Football this week. That's right, Tom Brady returned to Gillette Stadium for the first time since being traded to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Brady returned to Gillette Stadium with pouring rain and boos from the crowd. This did not faze Tom Brady as Tampa walked away with a 19-17 win against the Patriots. Was it the best performance by the 7-time Super Bowl champion? Not even close. Brady only completed 22 of 43 passes for only 269 yards. That comes to an average of 70.8% passing rating. It just never seemed that the Bucs offense created a consistent rhythm and struggled scoring touchdowns in the red zone. Although the Patriots walked away with a loss, rookie QB Mac Jones made a statement by giving Brady a run for his money. Jones had one of his greatest performances of his NFL career. Jones outplayed Tom Brady by completing 31 of 41 passes for 275 yards and 2 touchdowns. During one drive, Jones completed 19 passes for 180 yards. All I can say is that's impressive for a rookie QB who is going up against one of NFL's greatest players. Andy Reid became the first NFL coach to win 100 games with 2 different NFL teams. Not only that, but the Kansas City Chiefs finally broke their 2-game losing streak against the Eagles on Sunday. I would say Andy Reid is a little more happy about that. The Chiefs beat the Eagles 42-30. It was definitely more of an offensive battle. KC running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire definitely proved again that he can do his job well. He had an average 7.3 rushing yards, a total of 14 carries for 109 yards. If Edwards-Helaire continues to be consistent throughout the next several weeks, he will be a key player for the Chiefs' victories. That is all I have for this week's recap. We will take a short break, but stay tuned for Lily's NFL Fantasy Thoughts.
For students searching for a way to stay active in an outdoorsy way, the City of Lawrence has bike trails running in every direction, and with the new bike share program, we can stay in shape as we tour the sights of our beautiful city. Clinton Lake is only a short 30-minute bike ride away from Daisy Hill and has the most incredible sunset location in all of Lawrence. Walking campus may give you the KU calves, but biking can give you the KU thighs. Bike Lawrence today.
Welcome back to our Week 4 Fantasy Football Update, and let's get ready for Week 5. So if you watched last week's episode, you can probably recall me saying that the Broncos don't deserve the hype they are getting because they were 3-0 considering they played not so great teams. Well, this past week they were put to the test at home against the Ravens, and I stand corrected. They did not live up to the hype. While I am aware that they had quite a few people out, I expected better. Anyways, let's get into it. We've somehow already made it a quarter of the way through the NFL regular season, and I know I keep giving advice on who to pick up and watch out for, but this week, take a good look at your roster because it's time to start locking down on who you really need and can count on. But now is a good time to see if you might be in need of a bench wide receiver who has a high floor, maybe a backup quarterback whose matchup you like when your regular starter might be on a bye week. Maybe the insurance back to your best running back as well. Here are a few to consider this week. Keep in mind that all of these potential pickups that I list are available in over 50% of the leagues according to ESPN. Damian Williams, running back for the Chicago Bears. The Bears were handed a major blow when starter David Montgomery left week 4 due to a knee injury and has been reported will miss up to 4 to 5 weeks, which left the door wide open for Williams to step into a larger role. From that, Williams handled 8 carries, caught 2 passes, and even found the end zone. Although Williams did suffer a quad injury late into the game with no indications of the severity yet, early reports do indicate that his ACL is not damaged and that this injury should not impede on his ability to start in week 5. In the event that he does not return, I suggest adding the backup for the backup, Khalil Herbert. Next, I suggest Dalton Schultz, tight end for the Dallas Cowboys. Over the past 2 weeks, Schultz has been putting up the points. Within week 3 alone, had 26 fantasy points. The tight end position is the hardest position to find consistent production in fantasy, in my opinion. Although Schultz has scored 3 touchdowns in those games and now has exactly 6 catches in 3 of the 4 games this season, he has proved that he will put up the points for you. Next, might I suggest Emmanuel Sanders, wide receiver for the Buffalo Bills. Sanders continues to show his exceptional route running and the plays with one of the best quarterbacks in football. Sanders has seen 6 targets in all 4 games this year. It is clear that he is a useful add and stash or deep league flex. Last one I will go in depth about is Kenneth Gainwell, running back for the Philadelphia Eagles. While Miles Sanders is the starter, he has just 8 carries over the past 2 weeks, and with Philly's defense looking the way it does, it's forcing their offense to throw a ton. All of that throwing has helped the value of Gainwell, who has had 6 catches in week 4 alone, along with 3 in week 3. Gainwell is a good stash, especially as benches become more useful when bye weeks pick up. These next few I won't touch on a lot, but still has fantastic adds in your roster. Jamison Crowder, wide receiver for the Jets. Darnell Mooney, wide receiver for the Chicago Bears. AJ Green, wide receiver for the Arizona Cardinals. Dawson Knox, tight end for the Buffalo Bills, and Hunter Renfrow, wide receiver for the Las Vegas Raiders. All right, y'all, that's all I have for you this week, but stay tuned for your Week 5 update and Week 6 waiver pickups. And wait a second, can't forget to add that I am in fact 4-0 in fantasy football now, only undefeated person and girl in the league. Let's go. Thank you guys for tuning into this week's episode of LillySquared, and we hope to see you again next week at the same time. Have a good one. Bye, guys.